Sabrina Carpenter just made yet another appearance on SNL. She hosted the night. And I find it puzzling why she continues returning to SNL when the demographic of her fan base doesn't tune in to SNL, and hardly anyone does these days. And I was wondering, like, does she even get paid for this? Like, who benefits, right? Apparently she does get paid, but we don't know how much. And part of the reason that she showed up for SNL this time around was to acknowledge all of the backlash that she has received in recent weeks and months for the over-sexualization of her persona and her music, and especially her new album, Man's Best Friend, and the cover that she chose for it, in a lighthearted, humorous manner. She tried to address the criticism in a serious tone when the album rollout was still going on, and had a very poor explanation for her artistic decisions, which I thought was just evidence that she's not very bright and doesn't make all of the creative decisions behind her music. It's probably up to a whole team committee of people and her record label that created an image for her to revamp her as a pop star, and it worked. Yeah. She's just not that smart. So this was the monologue that she delivered that was written for her as well.
To be fair, she doesn't need to be. Like, that's the
no, but it would be nice if we didn't ascribe a certain IQ to this person that she doesn't have. That's the thing that her fans were doing when the album came out. They were saying, you know, she's actually like a really intellectual artist, and you're just too dumb to understand what she was going for here.
Or maybe she is, and she's just
like
at the behest
extremely
of,
sophisticated satire against the patriarchy, and you just don't have the media literacy to understand it.
They would have made a Morning Glory milking farm joke there.
Like, for some reason, when Sabrina Carpenter does it, it doesn't land whatsoever with anyone. And when Sydney Sweeney does it, you know, the same tongue-in-cheek, I'm objectifying myself and I know that you're looking thing, it lands when Sydney Sweeney does it. Yeah. In this case, it just doesn't work. And she also responded to the album cover controversy saying, some people got, like, a little freaked out by the cover. I'm not sure why. It was just this, me on all fours with an unseen figure pulling my hair. But what people don't realize is that's just how they cropped it. If you zoom out, it's clearly a picture from the SNL 50th anniversary special of Bo and Yang helping me up by my hair after Martin Short shoved me out of the buffet line. And they made these Photoshop versions of her album cover for the joke. You got the whole squad laughing. And one response here from apparently a former fan said, she's for the girls until her largely female audience critiques her, and then she'll tell them to go touch grass and dismiss them on live TV. They feel disrespected by their idol.
It's SNL. She's not going to go there and address it in any meaningful way. You're ridiculous if you think that that's what's going to happen there. That's not the point of SNL. It's not the venue to do that. If she wanted to, in fact, there isn't a venue on regular television where that's going to happen. Now, maybe she could end up going on like Hot Ones and having a discussion about this, or Chicken Shop Date or something like that. But she's not going to go have a reasonable discussion about this on a sketch comedy show.
Well, I believe that the interview where she tried to address the controversy in a serious tone was ABC, and it was just
Disney,
the most
word
salad response I've ever seen in my life. Like, she clearly doesn't have as much input into her public image as people assume, because this is a team of people creating her image for her.
Well, it's like you were saying, Sydney Sweeney's, given all that we know about Sydney Sweeney and the amount of work she's done to not just become an actor, but to become a producer and take on all of these business ventures, is that she's paying much closer attention to her own image, you know, and has much more of a say in it than seemingly somebody like Sabrina Carpenter.
Right.
Which means that she's able to articulate better. And, you know, the best satirists are the ones who understand it the best. So if she's creating that image for herself, she can satirize it better than somebody who's kind of just allowing that image to be who she is.
I think also to be excellent at satire includes not explaining yourself and offering us a piece of satire that doesn't require explanation. If it requires explanation, that completely defeats the purpose. And I don't think it was satirical at all. That was retroactively tacked on to the album after the fact. Here's another awkward clip of Sabrina Carpenter interacting with the audience of SNL. This is her called...
Okay.
Like, the laugh track is so awkward.
Yeah, it doesn't work. You know what I'd be willing to bet is that if she ever does kind of, and she will eventually, I can almost guarantee it eventually, whether it's breaking free of the label she's with now or goes elsewhere, there's probably a far more interesting person underneath that would just take a lot more time, effort, and energy to market herself.
I don't think she's interesting.
I'm saying that right now she doesn't have the capability of doing what she wants, and that plenty of artists later come out and are far more interesting people than what their public persona allows them to be while under contract to a company that has an idea of what they want her to be as a marketed product. So it's possible. And now that wouldn't usually come out on the stage at Saturday Night Live. What would happen is she would start some type of social media account or some type of YouTube channel. I'm not saying her specifically. I'm saying that there is a more interesting person there a lot of times. They're just not allowed to display it on TV. She's a natural performer. I mean, she's been doing this since she was, what? A kid.
Yeah, on Disney Channel.
You know, once you get over the novelty of, sexualizing yourself after being a child star, which seems to be the platform that a lot of these kids go down once they grow into adulthood, which is boring and stupid and nobody really finds it interesting anymore. It was novel at one point because people were scandalized by it. Nobody's scandalized by it anymore. They're just kind of makes people sad, right? Yeah. This is actually true of a lot of wrestlers, like men and women in wrestling, who are given characters that they have to portray on screen, but then they have Twitch channels where they play video games, or they, a lot of the ones that retire, they go in and they start YouTube channels, and they do much better because they're allowed to be themselves in a way that they weren't allowed to be when they were playing characters on TV.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's true of a lot of entertainers. I don't think Sabrina Carpenter is one of them. Like, I don't think that there is much beyond what's on the surface level here. Hence why she couldn't make a name for herself in an authentic way prior to just a couple of years ago when she started leaning into this persona. Her music career was a flop. For years. She has like 7 albums. People don't know that, but she tried to make a name for herself on her own merit. It didn't work. So she had to lean into this. And what bothers me about it is, just as you said, the pattern is something we've seen before a million times from other former child stars and from her in particular. They get off of the Disney pipeline and immediately start prostituting themselves. And it's not scandalous. It's she portrays her critics as pearl clutchers and moralizers. And while that may be true of me, I am in the scarce minority there. For the most part, the response she's getting is apathy. It's boredom. And people are pointing out that this is a mediocre, lazy way to get attention. In this other bit that they wrote for her on SNL, you can see in this video, do you have that? This other bit?
Yes.
She's doing a fake commercial for an ergonomic travel neck pillow, which, as you can see, is just a plush version of female anatomy.
Yes.
And the entire point of the bit is they're just trying to not talk about what it looks like. And she's naive and... it's just like, how is that interesting or funny? It's just, I don't know, like the caption is just, I'm literally effing crying. Sabrina, you are so effing funny. Like,
it's not like she wrote it.
Come on now.
I guess,
like, this isn't funny. It's not. Like, an SNL isn't funny.
Yeah.
You put Sabrina Carpenter not funny and SNL not funny in a not funny sandwich.
I mean, I
this
guess
is what you get.
What people outside of the sphere would expect from, first of all, she's doing exactly what you expect for the genre she's in, right? She's right on path to where she's supposed to go. But people outside of the genre might want to see, like, do you have any other hobbies? Is there anything else that you do where it's harder to be inauthentic?
Do you have any thoughts?
Any thoughts
on anything?
I mean,
ever?
I mean that is my general idea as to why I think people who don't really care or know about politics start talking about it. Is it gives them a general starting off point to start making comments. Whereas like for instance, I mentioned wrestling earlier. I've always thought it was novel that Kane, who is now the mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee, apparently was writing for libertarian blogs back in the 90s. Like at the wrestler Kane, you know, he's got the mask on, he puts his arms up and he slams his arms down and fire comes out and he's like a quasi-demon character, was already involved and cared about politics back at a time when caring about politics wasn't interesting. It was interesting back then because it was less accessible to everybody else.
Right, and she just made a decision to she chose the Transgender Law Center as one of the beneficiaries of the new Sabrina Carpenter Fund. So all of her ticket sales are going to be supporting the Trans Law Center, whatever that means. That's exactly what she's doing there when she puts her activist cap on. That adds some layer of like, wow, she's an activist, like that's really interesting. She's like this cultural polyglot, multi-hyphenate.
It is what they all go to now, is they have some type of cause because it sits at the intersection of like the privilege that they have to try and deny, or like make amends for. Like, I have all of this stuff, here's how I'm making the world a better place, and it allows them to sound intelligent.
And I think in one of her musical performances on this episode, she was referencing the scene of Britney Spears from Crossroads, where she's in her bedroom in her underwear, and she's like shaking her ass in the mirror. It's been a long time
since I've seen Crossroads.
Her underwear says it's Saturday night, and she's singing in her hairbrush and stuff. And I'm just like, okay, are we still doing this thing like where you're in your teenage bedroom, like?
I mean, does that just play to the fact that she's short and little, and that's
grow
like
up,
what they play
lady.
on?
Like, you're like, you actually are pushing 30, and this is just weird. And then in another musical performance, she's in this costume gi and has a backup dancer putting up these like wood blocks for her to like, she pretends to like break the wood blocks while she's singing, whatever. Rina Sawayama posted, a fellow pop star, posted on her Instagram calling her out for her cultural insensitivity.
No! Because she was breaking the...
No, it was actually because Sabrina and the backup dancer were wearing shoes in the dojo. She said, big love to Sabrina, but fellow artists, creative teams, if we are clearly referencing a culture, please can you do so with research, respect, and the care it deserves. Shoes on tatami is jail. You can never win.
You are the most like nobody likes you. When you're that nitpicky, just like you are the enemy of everybody.
Like, I had my fair share of criticisms for her SNL performance, but that was not one of them.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.